That gathering of eagles is really a world-class spectacle. It's truly a wildlife spectacle.
I'm always impressed with the gathering here, especially sometimes I've counted as many as 3,500 to 4,000 in this 3-mile stretch, and one can't help but be pretty impressed by them.
To see the eagles come up here and be able to live and get their fish is cause for a little bit of hope.
They're the symbol of our country. They're the symbol of wilderness.
One of the last great wilderness areas in North America is located along the thumb of land known as Southeast Alaska. It is sparsely populated, and only a handful of communities exist to provide access to this pristine area. Our adventure begins in the remote town of Haines, a small, friendly community of 2,500 inhabitants.
It really is perhaps the last frontier. The only thing that really holds you back is your own imagination. You know, you have the resources and the space to make a living and, you know, an imaginative type of living, not just an 8-to-5 type of job. The possibilities are endless here.
I think we've got a really interesting cross-section of people. We've got small town people that like living in a small town. We've got people that don't want to live around other people at all, so they live, you know, farther out of town in cabins without running water and without electricity and a lot of the amenities that everyone else takes for granted.
Some of them are characters, and some of the people are unforgettable. Their personalities are more vivid, I think. They need a little more space around them to for that character to come out, that personality to come out.
I suspect that one of the things that makes people want to live here is that a lot of them have lived elsewhere, and they are coming to a place that isn't like elsewhere. You can drive up the highway here and not see a car sometimes. And when you have 4 cars stopped at an intersection in the middle of town, you figure there's traffic. It's different.
Well, it's sort of like being way up in the top of the Himalayas, only you're at sea level. So you have this beautiful combination of the ocean, the close proximity of the ocean and the mountains and the glaciers all together.
You've been listening to Flashbacks and Fresh Tracks, underwritten by White Pass, Alaska, your local Chevron-branded supplier of fuels and lubes, supporting our community radio in Haines, Klukwan, and Skagway. For tonight, there's a wind chill to 30 below. Tonight, also increasing clouds with a 30% chance of snow developing, north winds to 35 miles per hour, and lows in the middle teens to lower 20s. The look ahead to Friday, a 70% chance of snow showers, and highs in the middle 20s.
By November, Haines is accessible only by bush plane, weather pending, and a bi-weekly ferry boat that follows the canal up from Juneau. Most of Alaska and western Canada are locked in frigid, snowy conditions. The people who live here have made some serious choices, for Alaska is an uncommon home.
It ain't no picnic. You wouldn't want to go trudging out across that river after a bear right now, but you might have to do it if he was going hunting with me.
Although getting to Haines might be tough for humans, as many as 4,000 bald eagles have no trouble finding their way to the nearby Chilkat River Valley each year from mid-November to early January.
This is a Chilkat Valley Preserve, and there's 48,000 acres here. And what makes it unique is we get a late run of chum salmon. And not only do we get a late run of chum salmon here, but we also get this warm upwelling, which keeps the river from freezing up. So consequently, we have quite a gathering of the bald eagles here during the winter. I wonder sometimes whether they're just coming in to eat or not. It almost seems like a social gathering too, but I'm sure that the reason they're coming up is they followed the fish up the coast.
This annual gathering is the largest known concentration of eagles in the world. No one knows for sure how long the gathering has taken place, but Tlingit Indians in the nearby village of Klukwan have lived here for centuries. They're part of the Eagle clan, and their elders say the eagles have come for as long as stories have been told. While there are still many threats to the eagle's survival, this preserve was created as a safe haven. The bald eagle has a commanding presence. It soars the skies at speeds approaching 35 miles per hour on a wingspan known to extend more than 7 feet. But it is the eyes, eagle eyes, that accentuate the bold and vigilant image of the bird as it scouts prey. With eyes 4 to 5 times more powerful than humans, bald eagles have a distinct advantage over the fish and waterfowl on which they feed. During the winter, the eagles are fairly inactive. They'll often perch for hours watching for an easy target. In fact, part of the attraction of the Chilkat River is that it's not just full of salmon, it's full of many dead or dying salmon. Eagles are known for their razor-sharp talons, often as big as a human hand, and their hooked beak is tailor-made for tearing flesh. The only predator of the eagle is humankind. By the early 1950s, human behavior forced the eagle close to extinction, as this powerful raptor was systematically killed for both bounty and sport. The danger of extinction grew through the 60s as eagles suffered new hazards related to DDT and other pesticides, chemicals that made their eggs so brittle they would crack during incubation. Through the efforts of conservationists and concerned citizens across North America, the bald eagle became a protected species. Although the Chilkat Eagle Preserve has survived amid controversy for more than a decade, there are still threats to eagle, salmon, and the pristine wilderness.
Wildlife habitat is just constantly decreasing. It's just being chipped away little by little. And here's this area in the Chilkat Valley that holds this grand spectacle of eagles. And in my view, that should be #1 priority. That's what makes this place special.
Alaska's bald eagles will return on Discovery Sunday.
This portion of Discovery is brought to you in part by Snapple Natural Beverages.
Today I got a letter from a retired colonel from Kentucky. Snapple is a super product, perhaps the only good that has ever come out of New York. Let's set him straight.
I'm Ed Koch. New York City is the place where the corned beef sandwich was invented, and the first elevator that was installed. The first capital of the United States was in New York City. And it's true.
Snapple still is the best thing that ever came out of New York.
You got it.
Snapple, made from the best stuff on earth.
Hi, this has to be in LA tomorrow.
No problem, sir.
With express mail from the Postal Service, you're never left in the dark.
Yes, your package is in LA and being delivered.
Morning.
From just $9.95, we track, we trace, we deliver for you.
It was big.
Huge, large, astronomically big.
Pizza Hut!
Bigfoot from Pizza Hut. 2 square feet of pizza delivered for just $10.99. It's a legendary value. Bigfoot from Pizza Hut. The biggest pizza you can get delivered.
With the next Discovery Sunday, you're off the coast of Tahiti as sharks circle a fishing boat. On the African plain as a rhino charges a car. Come face to face with dangerous creatures. Then, every year they come to the beach for sun, sea, and food. Meet the gourmet apes of Borneo. Next Sunday beginning at 9 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Discovery Sunday.
Alaska's bald eagles now returns on Discovery Sunday.
The bald eagle is exclusive to North America. Although it was once indigenous to all 48 states in the continental U.S., it has disappeared from many. Today, 2/3 of the population of roughly 70,000 bald eagles live in Alaska and British Columbia. The reason? Wilderness. Eagles prefer the wild, and Southeast Alaska has been a perfect home. Over the centuries, they have rarely had to share their land and skies with anyone. But Alaska is changing, and these great birds may become a casualty of human demand. The area around Haines is timber-rich, the waters flush with salmon and halibut, but it is the mineral-filled mountains, huge, unnamed ridges of stone and ice, from which the greatest threat now emanates. And the Chilkat Eagle Preserve is in the path of danger.
The Windy Craggy project is one of the, if not the largest, undeveloped copper deposits in North America. It probably is one of the largest 10 undeveloped copper deposits in the world. The need for copper in the next decade and thereafter is clearly demonstrated by market studies, and the timing for development of Windy Craggy is good.
The Windy Craggy Range is located in Canada's British Columbia province. It's about 150 miles northwest of Haines, just north of the Alaska-Canada border.
The Port of Haines is the closest port available to the mine, and because we are going to be producing something of the order of 500,000 tons of concentrate of copper concentrates every year, which we have to ship to smelters for the further refining that's required to produce pure copper metal, we need a port. And Haines is therefore the logical, close facility.
Although there are abundant mineral resources throughout the area, it has never before been developed. The wilderness directly north of the Windy Craggy is part of the Yukon's Kluane National Park. And to the south is Alaska's Glacier Bay National Park. But there are roughly 2.7 million acres of unprotected wilderness located in between. Eagle and moose are abundant, and the area has the highest concentration of grizzly bears in North America. It is roadless wilderness, accessible only by trappers on foot, a rare bush plane, and adventurous rafters on the Tatshenshini River. Because of the proposed mine and related development, the Tatshenshini is now considered an endangered river by several environmental groups. The river has also been called the wildest river in North America because it is completely surrounded by wilderness. If the Windy Craggy mine is developed, about 20 miles of road and several bridges would traverse the area. The climate of Windy Craggy is especially harsh. The mountains are snow-covered, and large areas of the copper deposit are covered by permanent glaciers. An even more precarious environmental hazard is earthquakes.
If the acid mine drainage gets started, or if their tailings dam ever ruptured, it could completely wipe out the Tatshenshini and the Alsac rivers. This area is one of the most seismically active in the entire world. The largest earthquake ever recorded in North America took place in Yakutat Bay, which is only about 75 miles from Windy Craggy. And there's just far too many risks from the development of this project. And from the point of view of Alaska and the United States, there's very, very little to be gained.
These sort of concerns are valid. And be it lead, copper, any of these type of ores, or the dust, we've got too much to lose here. And not enough to gain to be rushing into anything.
I would like to see it done if it can be done safely. And I mean that in the strongest sense of the word. Safely and for the public and the environment. Yeah, it's going to go, whether we like it or not, I think.
It's development. You ain't going to stop it.
There are many questions surrounding the development of the copper mine. Opponents of the mine's development are concerned about threats to the wilderness and the creatures that live there.
It's a world-class wilderness, and the reason that people come from all over the world is to visit a wilderness that is so pristine and so big. And you take something like this and you cut the heart right out of it, and it'll destroy it.
Alaska's bald eagles will return on Discovery Sunday. Geysers of Yellowstone. Monday at 10 Eastern and Pacific, only on the Discovery Channel.
If this is a lock, this is a Schlage lock. Schlage, the Doberman of locks.
I got a new taste that's pure delight. New Pringle sour cream and onion light. That's right. Rich sour cream and tangy onion. Mmm, that taste is really something, because the dip is in the chips, so delicious on your lips. Look, compare Pringles to regular chips. Pringles have less fat and they're less greasy too. The proof's in front of you. So grab a bunch of this, not that, and get a whole lot of taste and less of the fat. New Pringle sour cream and onion light. That's right. Once you pop, you, and you can't stop.
Every day we exist not knowing, not caring, but we are part of nature's cycle, linked forever to life force. Tuesday at 10 Eastern and Pacific, only on the Discovery Channel.
I'm Craig Heiding with a CVI Cable Issues Update. One part of the 1992 Cable Act that could affect your monthly bill is called retransmission consent. Under this new law, cable companies are required to negotiate with some local broadcasters for permission to carry their signal. With these negotiations, broadcasters may ask for monetary compensation, which could ultimately be passed on to our customers, even though their over-the-air signals are free to non-cable subscribers. If an agreement cannot be reached, we will be required to remove that station from our channel lineup on October 6th.
Please be assured that CVI will work hard to avoid any interruptions in the programs you are used to watching, while also avoiding having our customers pay for otherwise free programming. We have already begun talking with local broadcasters, and as our discussions progress, we will keep you informed.
Alaska's Bald Eagles now returns on Discovery Sunday.
The Haines Highway is a winding two-lane road that weaves its way along the 40-odd miles from Haines to the Canadian border. The road is used mainly by locals, tourists, and an occasional lumber truck. It passes directly through the Chilkat Eagle Preserve and the Tlingit village of Klukwan. The road was built long before the area was designated a preserve. It winds along the banks of the Chilkat River, in some places passing within a few feet of the salmon-filled water. By November, the trees along the road are often home to as many as 30 to 40 eagles at a time. At first glance, it seems unlikely that a copper mine more than 100 miles away could have any impact on the Eagle Preserve. But Haines is the seaport closest to Windy Craggy, and the Haines Highway is the only route available to Geddes for hauling its ore to port.
Would you buy property along the Haines Highway if you knew an ore truck was going to be coming night and day? Night and day? Every 9 minutes? I don't think so. I think it will devalue the land along the highway, and I think it'll, aside from being an inconvenience, it'll be flat dangerous.
If you're going to have ore trucks roaring through an eagle preserve and people trying to photograph eagles at the same time, you've lost touch with reality, because it's just not going to work right. The Eagle Preserve will suffer a great deal.
The worry is that if these trucks slide off the road and dump a load of their concentrate in the water, then that affects the fish, and the eagles here come for the fish.
It's going to damage our salmon. It's going to damage our environment, our bears, our eagles, all the other wildlife that we've selected this area for will be moved away from here. They're going to go someplace else.
What would disturb the eagles is that the highway would have to be substantially widened and improved. Eagle trees would be cut down. There'd be more culverts, wider bridges. There'd be more activity. And it's the cumulative impacts. It's all these little bits and pieces when you add them up over a few years, which could certainly harm the eagles. And if we start to get any copper residue building up in the watershed as a result of these thousands of trucks traveling through the valley, we could lose the eagles forever.
The controversy is growing, and the issues have divided the city of Haines. Geddes President Gerald Harper has made several visits to Haines to address the concerns of civic leaders. But due to Canadian-American trade laws, he believes the people of Haines have little choice in the matter.
I want to know what kind of control the people will ever have. I want you to tell me very clearly, please, can a no vote by the Assembly or the Council or the people ever stop this project?
It sounds to me as if I think my answer ought to be no.
Okay.
The verdict is still out on the development of Windy Craggy, but it's important to remember that Alaskans are an independent breed. Even those presently in favor of the mine don't like being told they have no choice in the matter. Things could change for Geddes Resources.
I believe that if they've got 35 years worth of ore up there, then like I say, if they can afford to get rich, we can afford to be protected.
I think mining outside of the preserve should be done in such a way that it has no negative effect on the eagle population or the fish population in the preserve. So, yeah, I'm in favor of eagles and the fish.
of the Chilkat Preserve sit quietly in the wild, oblivious to human concerns, yet deeply affected by their decisions. Is there a time when development should take a back seat to wilderness?
Can we put enough value on wilderness to save it? Or are we going to mine every valley until there isn't a valley left? At what point, at which generation does the human race finally stand up and say, okay, we've compromised everything we're going to compromise, we're going to stop now, we're going to save what we've got left? That's the question.
Many people who oppose development of the Windy Craggy believe Alaska can promote environmentally safe economic development, especially tourism. In fact, tourism may be the only way left to protect the habitat and wildlife found in areas like the Chilkat Eagle Preserve. The bald eagle is well recognized for its simple beauty and proud dominance of the Alaskan skies. Soon, perhaps, the eagle will be recognized as a resource so valuable that it rivals the mineral and timber demands of this great wilderness called Southeast Alaska.
Happy 4th of July from the Discovery Channel. Coming up next, Discovery Sunday continues with a look at an extraordinary animal, the wild turkey. Then follow the life cycle of the Pacific salmon on The Nature of Things. Discovery Channel.
This portion of Discovery is brought to you in part by American Airlines.
A friendly smile, a warm hello, an extra hand when you're on the go. There's something special in the air.
Whether you're flying on business or pleasure, one airline makes you feel like you're something special. American Airlines, taking you to more places around the world than any other airline. With over 100,000 employees who believe you can mix business with pleasure.
Regularly scheduled program will not be seen at this time. Join us for this special presentation.
Hello, I'm Doug McConnell. This is my buddy Muttley and Vika and Yaka, two orca whales, and we have got a show that's wet and wild for you. Our Wet and Wild Mac and Muttley special features mammals of the sea. We begin our journey off the shores of Hawaii, and we'll sail with the man who migrates with the mighty humpback whales.
What it appears we've got here are two whales that have joined each other, one medium-large size and one about an adult size.
Then we'll meet some people who are giving orphaned elephant seals a brand new lease on life. We'll also introduce you to a couple of fine artists who have a way with posing porpoises. And we'll take you to the great Northwest to meet some captivating critters on its rocky shores. Now, Vika over here is from the Atlantic Ocean near Iceland, Yaka from the Pacific Ocean near British Columbia. Orca whales can be found in all of the oceans of the world, and sometimes they share their habitat with humpback whales. We met a fellow named Dan McSweeney who's been studying humpbacks for about 20 years. In the summer, he follows them in Alaska, and in the wintertime, he follows them off the big island of Hawaii.
you're dealing with an animal that's got a big playground out here, and you don't often have any idea which direction they head. We use the underneath sides of those tails to tell the whales apart from each other. It's a multifaceted fascination. Certainly to find out something that nobody else knows has got a real thrill attached to it.
They are the size of a greyhound bus, the humpback whale. Like too many other animals in this world, humpbacks are in danger of extinction. It's just been in the last 20 years that their population has started to make a comeback. For thousands of years, humpbacks have made the long trip from their feeding grounds off the coast of Alaska to Hawaii, their winter home. Dan McSweeney, a whale researcher, migrates with them.
For the last 15 years, I've been studying marine mammals here off the west side of the Big Island. And for the last 10 years, I've been following the humpbacks that winter here this time of year up to their feeding grounds in Alaska. And using cameras to photograph distinct body markings on the animals, we can tell the individuals apart from each other. Calling Ketchum 1, black whale, WHA 4365.
Dan has spent thousands of hours above and below the ocean surface identifying humpbacks and other sea mammals. His purpose is to document individuals on film and videotape so we all can know more about their migratory routines and populations. This is some of Dan's footage.
For every 100 to 200 hours you spend out here on the water, maybe you get 30 seconds to a minute's worth of underwater.